welcome to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm your host, Lydia Patel, and as always, I have yet another special guest for you. Mr. Neil Hetherington will be with me for the next 30 minutes. He is the CEO of Habitat for Humanity NYC. So keep it right here. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Miles, and I am Miss Caribbean United States 2013, and you're watching Beyond Focus TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. And like I said, I have a special guest with me, Mr. Neil Hetherington, who's the CEO of Habitat for Humanity NYC. They're doing wonderful things here in the city and around the world, I should say. So I want to welcome Mr. Neil Hetherington. Welcome to Beyond Focus TV.
Thanks so much, and thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Well, it's not often that we get the CEO directly coming to sit down. Usually they send a representative, but you decided to be hands-on, come in tonight and really share the message of what Habitat for Humanity is doing. So I commend that, and I appreciate the time, truly.
Well, it's an honor being here, and anytime you have the opportunity to talk about Habitat for Humanity, it's wonderful. It means that, is there a viewer of yours that will decide to pick up a hammer? Is there a viewer of yours who might end up benefiting from Habitat for Humanity in a new home, or somebody who would advocate on behalf of the organization? And so that's my hope, that at the end of this program, there is somebody who has what we call habititis. They are addicted to Habitat for Humanity, and they go out and they do something about it.
Well, if they don't have it, we'll make sure they have it
Absolutely.
by the end of the program. So let's talk about, for those who aren't familiar with Habitat for Humanity, what is Habitat for Humanity? What's the mission?
Sure. It's very simple. We believe in a world without poverty housing. So home by home, we are building them around the world. We're in about 70 countries right now. We are building one home every 4 minutes in one of those countries. We have helped over 800,000 families move from situations that are inadequate into ones that are hopeful, ones that provide great tenure for families, and give children a better shot at growing up in at least a simple, decent, affordable home. Mm-hmm. And so we will continue that mission until we have eradicated poverty housing from the face of the earth. And it is growing. It's a wonderful movement to be part of.
Absolutely, and that's truly an amazing mission, because housing here in the city, not just in New York, in most major places, housing, rental issues are something that is very, very prevalent in many communities. And unfortunately, if you come from immigrant families or you're in more of an impoverished area, there are certain things that you are living in conditions that are less favorable.
Absolutely, and so what we say is, let's not give you a home, but how can we work together? How can we form a partnership where you are building the home, where you are paying for the home, you have the sense of dignity and self-worth by saying, hey, I built this house, I'm paying for this home, my children are going to grow up with a brand new and bright future in a dignified way. And so Habitat, we have a catchphrase that we are a hand up and not a hand out. And so those who are hardworking women and men who just need that break can come to Habitat and say, hey, I want to put my name down.
Absolutely. So how did this all get started? How did this movement with Habitat for Humanity start, not just in New York? Of course, we'll focus a little more here, being that we are in New York State. But of course, how did this all get started?
It's a wonderful story, and I'll make it very, very concise. But essentially, it's a wonderful romantic story, quite frankly. A multimillionaire was spending a lot of time devoting his time to building up his business, mm-hmm. and his wife left him, Linda. And so Millard, the founder of Habitat for Humanity, chased after her. And said, hey, I've had my priorities wrong this entire time. We were happiest when we were in college. We were happiest in university. How about when we had absolutely nothing? We had no money. How about we give away the business, we give away the fortune, we give away the estate and absolutely everything, and if I do that, will you have me back? And she said yes. And
Really?
and so they divested themselves of all that wealth and gave it to different charities. And they found themselves spending time on a place called Koinonia Farms in rural Georgia. And they got to know one another a little bit better, and they got to know the needs and the issues of that community. And they said housing is a tremendous need, and they came up with this wonderful model of building homes with the community, not for the community, and selling them with an interest-free mortgage, and that mortgage being used to pay for the home and the next home after that. But the New York connection is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That decision, when he turned to Linda and said, "Will you have me back if I divest myself of the wealth?" That all happened in the back of a yellow cab in New York City on their way to the Waldorf Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And so New York can say we were really the twinkle in Millard's eye that led to that decision, where Millard and Linda Fuller founded the organization in 1976. They did that in an abandoned barn in Georgia. And they all sat around with the first board of directors, and they had no floor. It was a mud floor in a barn. They had no money at this time.
Wow.
And they said, before we die, let's house 1 million people. And they all put up their hand and said, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to work together to house 1 million people. And in 2005, in August, a woman by the name of Tracy and her husband Kofi and their 4 children moved into a home in Knoxville, Tennessee. And they were the 1 millionth and 1 millionth and first person to live in a Habitat for Humanity home. They achieved the goal in October 2005. It was an audacious goal, but they did it with grace and dignity, and it just continues to build.
Absolutely, and that's an amazing story, and it's a very real story, because there's a lot, if you really were paying attention to the story, there's certain aspects of it that are very real, and they decided to give up their wealth and then basically help others with that.
And as a result, they were blessed out of that. They found great joy and fulfillment in building the organization and getting to know one another a little bit better than they had before.
Absolutely. Well, hold that thought, Neil. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and we're sitting here with Neil Hetherington, the CEO of Habitat for Humanity, and he's sharing some very, very insightful information, so I hope you all are enjoying this and really taking notes. Neil, let's continue talking about Habitat and really what the work that they're doing so far here in Brooklyn and here in New York. How many people have been helped and benefited from this?
We have assisted and built over 350 units throughout New York City, all 5 boroughs, and what we have found is we needed to respond to Hurricane Sandy and to Superstorm Sandy. So a year and a half ago, we set up operations on Staten Island. And we have assisted 100 families in helping them restore their difficult circumstance. And actually, just this week, we will be celebrating the very first Superstorm Sandy home that we have repaired, and that's in Brooklyn, in Coney Island, and we've set up an operation there. So we'll have dual operations happening, where family after family who's been affected by the storm, they will be able to get assistance from Habitat for Humanity and the tremendous corporate and wonderful volunteers of the organization. Then we've got other great things. It's an exciting place to be at Habitat for Humanity. We've got a 15-unit building that is going to be starting very, very soon on Dean Street, so right here in Brooklyn, not far from the studio. And then we will be building another 40 homes scattered throughout the city, but primarily in Queens. And those are homes that have been boarded up. Those have been homes that have been neglected for years and are an eyesore, really, on the street. And they were foreclosed on 15, 20 years ago. And Habitat's coming in, and we're taking off those boards, and we are making those homes like new. And families will begin moving into those homes within a matter of months. And actually, last year we had the wonderful and awesome privilege of hosting President Carter out on one of those homes in Queens.
Okay.
And in Southeast Queens, he swung a hammer, and he helped build a deck on one of those homes. And so that family that moves into that home can know that they have a presidential deck on their
literally
on the back of their house. So, it doesn't matter whether you're a president of this great country or somebody who is, just picking up a hammer for the first time. Everybody, there's that wonderful saying from Martin Luther King Jr. Everyone can be great because everybody can serve. We all have the capacity to be great because we can all serve. And folks are coming throughout this borough to say we care about the community and we want to swing a hammer and we want to have a good time doing it.
Great. So how does this entire process work? How does somebody get involved if they may need a home?
Sure. It's
how would you do that?
Really very simple. They can visit our website at habitatnyc.org, and visiting that website, they'll find more information about the types of families that qualify for a home. And those are families that have certain credit scores. They are generally individuals who are working really hard who just need that break in life, and we want to be that break. And so there's information sessions that we host every single week at our office, and it's beautiful to see families coming in and hearing about the organization, hearing that there is the possibility of good news, and they go through an application process. And at the end of it, the home is built with them, and volunteers and corporate support and the faith community. We all rally around and then stand outside their doorway, and you have a beautiful moment where the keys are presented to that family.
Wow.
And if you can imagine seeing the pivotal moment of a family's life, where you get to see that's the moment where they broke the cycle of poverty, that's the moment where they crossed that threshold of that doorway into a brand new future, it is a powerful, powerful moment. And never because, we thought the families were disadvantaged, always because we knew that they were equal. And so they were partners in the whole process. And it's one of the most wonderful, most engaging, and most beautiful moments that you can possibly imagine when in a dignified way they receive those keys to their home.
That sounds truly amazing. So it's like a ribbon cutting.
It's a ribbon cutting. It's a life-changing, pivotal moment of that family's life that just is inspiring. And what we do with those, what we call a dedication service, after we cut the ribbon, we say, let's reconnect. Let's dedicate ourselves to building another home. There's family after family that is living in unaffordable conditions that are not right in terms of how to raise a child, and we want to change that.
And you truly are. And if you're now joining us, this is Neil Hetherington from Habitat for Humanity NYC, doing fantastic work, and there is an opportunity to change if you need to get a home. And one of the interesting things that I really admire is that you do let the families themselves get involved in building their own home.
Well, not only let the families get involved, they have to get involved. Every head of household has to do 250 volunteer hours with the organization. So think about a couple. They're working very hard at their jobs. They're trying to raise their kids, and they have to do in total 500 volunteer hours with the organization. 10 hours a week for a year is a tremendous sacrifice. But the payoff is dramatic. The payoff means, and it's intangible, the payoff is this sense of self-worth, where you really can say, I know what's behind the drywall. I know what's behind behind the furniture here. And you can make that permanent change in that family's life.
And of course, there's still a mortgage and all that stuff that gets to be paid onto the house.
We give them the privilege of building the home and paying for the home.
That is truly amazing. Keep it right here. You are watching Beyond Focus TV. Neil Hetherington, CEO of Habitat for Humanity, is my guest right here. Stay with us.
name is Stephanie Miles, and I am Miss Caribbean United States 2013, and you're watching Beyond Focus TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm your host, Lydia Patel, and sitting down here with Neil Hetherington, the CEO of Habitat for Humanity. A lot of great information is going on. We're talking about homes, and for all of you that want to have a home, who are probably renting, this may be an opportunity if you go onto the website. You could do that and see if you qualify to actually get in, start building your own home, and then purchasing that home.
Absolutely, and building up equity in that home so that, for your children down the road, there is a sense of security, really.
Absolutely. So let's talk about going green. A lot of people, we always hear that term floating around. What is going green in terms of Habitat for Humanity?
Well, I think Habitat and I know Habitat is one of the leaders when it comes to that. We believe if you're going to build affordable housing, you can't build affordable housing that you can't afford to operate. And so
true.
we want to make sure that the heating and cooling costs are minimized so that families can use that money to put it away for retirement or for their children's education. So it's important to us to build we build to an enterprise green standard, which is a high standard for residential construction, and so it means the operating costs are low, and even better for those that care dramatically as we do about the environment, the building materials, how we recycle on the build site, those types of things are all taken into consideration. And so that's a huge part of our residential construction program. But we also have this new thing that's coming to Queens called the Restore, where we are selling used building materials. So if your home's being renovated, we can come in and take out your old kitchen, your old toilets, your old vanities and sinks. We bring them back to the store, we clean them up, we sell them, and the proceeds from that will pay for the organization. So it's a sustainable operation. It's a sustainable business. It's got great social benefit from it. And from an environmental perspective, we are going to divert thousands of tons of materials that were going to head for a landfill. Instead, they're going to be repurposed into new homes.
That is fantastic. So like you said, keep the wheels turning.
Absolutely.
And everything's got to generate. Let's talk about young professionals, that network that you have.
Absolutely. We just started a young professionals network. It was the co-chairs, Richard Shore and Megan Chisholm, are phenomenal leaders in the community who have brought together about 150 young professionals. Unfortunately, next year I think I get kicked out because I become an old professional. And and these young women and men are saying we want to give back. They enjoy their professions, but they want to use the skill sets from those professions into something that is sustainable, something that is good and meaningful. And so we launched it just last week. It was a phenomenal launch, and we hope that grows right across the city. We want to see young professionals saying, I believe in what Habitat for Humanity is doing, and I want to be part of that great movement.
Absolutely. Now, October 29th, there is a wonderful gala coming up that you all have to get your tickets and support. But Neil, I'm going to have you give us all the details about that.
Sure. October 29th at Cipriani Wall Street. Every year, Habitat for Humanity, this is the 15th year, has hosted one of these incredible galas. And this year, we're celebrating the fact that we're 30 years old in New York City. So you might see a little bit of 1984 throughout that. There may be a few Molly Ringwald kind of references and that type of thing. Very large shoulder pads and people saying awesome and radical a fair bit. It's so an 80s themed gala that every year about 750 to 1,000 people come. They have a phenomenal night, but more importantly, they know that they're contributing to something that is meaningful and good and right.
Absolutely. So this event is October 29th, and this, you have to say, is probably the biggest show that Habitat does every year.
Well, it's certainly a big show, a big production, but I'm going to bring it back to what we talked about earlier. The best show is the day that we hand the keys to a family. It might be a very small and meaningful, very, very small gathering around a doorstep, but that to me is where the figurative fireworks really go off.
Have you been present for a few of them?
I've probably been to in my career. I've been with Habitat for Humanity for 20 years, so I've probably been to at least 1,000 dedications and seen that. But I'll tell you, I'm an incredibly macho guy, but I still cry when I see that. And I had the opportunity 2 weeks ago in Bogota, Colombia, to see two families finish the construction on their homes. And it doesn't matter where in the world you are. It's powerful and meaningful.
It's a very touching moment. I could imagine how touching it would be that you've spent 250 hours, or in total, if you're two people, 500 hours building up your home. The final day that you take a look back and you're looking at it and you're handed your keys. It's giving me goosebumps a little bit to think about it, because it's such an emotional moment, and it really is yours. And
it's for the family and for the volunteers. And I would suggest that the volunteers, when they drive by that home 5 years down the road, they see a light on, they maybe see a Christmas tree in the window. They know they made a huge difference just by installing a piece of drywall or a kitchen or some flooring. They saw that a family permanently broke the cycle of poverty, and that they could be part of that by contributing their own sweat equity into the project.
I love it. How do we get in contact with Habitat, Neil, before we run out of time?
Sure. Two very, very easy ways. Simply Google Habitat for Humanity New York City or habitatnyc.org. Give us a call, 212-991-4000, and just come out, make a difference in this great city, and you'll be rewarded for it.
So 212-991
4,000.
212-991-4000. That is the best way to reach Habitat for Humanity NYC. And if you have questions or comments, anybody could also go onto the website directly, because you'll be able to see if you qualify, the best way to get involved. Some people just want to donate their time.
They can donate their time, and they can build louder by advocating for more affordable housing in this city. We've got a mayor who's very committed to it. He just needs the continuous support of all New Yorkers.
Absolutely. It's been such a pleasure having you here with us, and I would like to invite you right now to come back for a part 2 interview.
Anytime you want. I am here.
Habitat, because I want to focus a little more and get some updates on the different projects as we get closer to October. So I'll definitely love to have you back. So letting you know now, Neil Hetherington will be back for a part 2 interview right here on Beyond Focus TV. Thank you so much once again for having us. And of course, don't forget to tune in next week. We are going to have the Executive Director of the Public Fund for Advocacy right here, Miss Kimberly Allen Pierce. She'll be with us again next week. So keep it locked right here. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm your host, Lydia Patel. Stay with us.
Beyond Focus TV show wants and needs your feedback. Did we blunder? Please let us know so we can improve. Was the show helpful to you? Drop us a note so we can share the success with our staff members. Is there something you think we could do better? We welcome new ideas and new approaches to old ideas. Do you have a great suggestion? Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you.